Let's talk more about the election. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, this week began the prosecution of some academic professors who were accused of corruption and other acts which serve to undermine democracy during the 2019 general election in Akwa Ibom State, South Nigeria. For the likely import of this move by election management body, we're now being joined by Fred NZEAKO, a constitutional lawyer. Fred, glad to have you join us on the program this morning.
Many thanks. Good to be with you.
Good. Let's start this way. How will this action by INEC affect the general conduct of the elections going forward? What message do you think that INEC is sending out there by this prosecution of the professor who went foul of INEC's rules and principles?
The action of INEC is one that is commendable. Commendable in the sense that Nigerians have all along been complaining about the untoward attitude of some personalities who have been given the authority to conduct elections and who by their actions, inactions, and subversion have not allowed the will of the people to prosper. And Nigerians have always said that such persons should not be allowed to continue to have a field day because they are dangerous. Their actions and attitudes are dangerous to the process of election and dangerous to the integrity of the electoral body and dangerous to the support expected, the confidence of the electorate. So INEC has done well to have arraigned the professors, and we'll go a bit further to ask INEC to arraign and bring to justice any person, no matter how highly placed, who is accused or found to have partly, directly or indirectly, subverted the will of the people. Because we all know that the major cardinal thing that any country can give to its people is the freedom to choose its leadership. And such freedom must not be thwarted in any way, must not be slanted, must not be tilted, except according to the will of the people, as expressed in the ballot. So I want to commend INEC for doing that, and I want to encourage them to do a lot more and go further to do such cleansing, which will also include internal cleansing, because these professors can be said to be ad hoc. They are not officially the staff of INEC. They were engaged for the electoral process, and they did not live up to expectation in the eye of the INEC that engaged them and in the eye of the people. So, but there are some people also within the INEC system whose conduct may be said not to be above board. It is very important for us to know that the electoral umpire is expected to be above board, expected to be impartial, expected not to allow the inducements of the society or inducements of the politicians to taint the impartiality of the process. So INEC will have to go a lot further than this. Apart from arraigning these professors, we should also arraign others who are guilty of similar offenses and also do some internal cleansing, and in the process elevate those who are found to be above board. Because a man cannot give what he doesn't have. So also a woman cannot give what she does not have. If you don't have integrity, you cannot give integrity. Okay. If you don't have strong will and character, you cannot give strong will and character. Those who are naturally gifted and who have trained themselves and who have cultured themselves to have strong will and character and to have the interests of the society at heart and to want the society to be progressive, especially in an economy that is said to be underdeveloping as we have in Nigeria, such persons have to be encouraged, while those who undermine legitimate processes must be discouraged by way of sanctions. So INEC has done well. Okay. In all ramifications by arraigning those professors. I mean, they should have their day in court. If they are not found guilty, they will be free. If they are found guilty, the long arm of the law will definitely catch up with them.
Okay, and let me just ask you, where do you think we have the biggest challenge here in prosecuting electoral offenders? Is it the lack of laws in the country? Why is it so difficult to prosecute offenders and bring sanity to the electoral process, as well as inspire confidence of the electorate in the process?
Yes, I do not think the problem is actually for lack of laws. We have all the laws, robust, and for every aspect of offense in this country, there are enough laws that should take care of the sanctioning of such offenses. But what we have, the challenge we have and the problem we have is the will to implement those laws, the will to prosecute the offenders, the will to bring them to justice. Because especially when it comes to issue of politics and the electioneering, one man's inaction or action is another man's gain. And one man's inaction or action is another man's undoing. If the professors and other infractors have done something untoward, they must have done that to curry benefit to some persons and curry demerit to some others. Let's take, for example, the case in point. It was said that the professor added about 5,000 votes to somebody that was losing an election against somebody that was already at the point of collation at the primary center of voting has won the election. So it now tells you that the professors has intentionally tried to undermine the process. And we have laws to take care of such undermining of the process. And then what we now lack is the will to implement the laws. The person who benefited from the inaction or action of the returning officer would not want the returning officer to be punished. Whereas, and we were trying to do everything to scuttle the process of the law. But the person who got the short end of the knife will be crying wolf and will want justice and laws to take their course against the infractor. So, but now that's where the balancing act comes in. How do you balance such requests? One man is asking, I need justice. The other man is asking, you don't need to continue to cry. It is the system, it is the institution that would be able to protect those who are hurt. And such institution is INEC. That is why INEC as an institution needs to be strengthened. It needs to be made very strong, such that people cannot just come and bring their overbearing innuendos into the conduct of elections. And how do you ensure that INEC is strengthened? Because as an electoral body, it is not supposed to take side at all. But the challenge we are having today, the major problem we are having today, is that the snippets we are receiving, even from the major and mainstream media, is that some people are angling to hijack the process of independence of INEC. And Nigerians must not tolerate or allow that. Because once that is done, that means that even the process of bringing the infractors to book will be scuttled, because of the integrity of the electoral body would have been compromised by those who do not want the electoral body to be strengthened, who do not want the electoral body to be a strong institution, impartial, and will not look at anybody's face, but will rather look at the votes of the people. Look at what is going on in America, for example, if we can go there. The electoral body in America looked Mr. President in the face and pronounced a result that did not favor him. Instead, they pronounced the result that was an express indication of the will of the people. Even when Mr. President was crying wolf and was even sacking some people, they never minded, because the system is strong. Former President of America has asked Nigeria that the very best thing you will do as a country is not to build strong personalities, but to build strong institutions. And I can tell you that one of these institutions that need to be strengthened in Nigeria is the institution of the selection of the leadership in the country, and that is Independent National Electoral Commission. Okay. Those who want INEC to continue to be subservient must not be allowed to have their way. Those who want INEC to be placed under their pillow must not be allowed to have their way. Those who want INEC to become made up of and composed of yes sir and yes my people who don't have integrity and strong character to stand and defend the will of the people must not be allowed to have their way. Okay. Because the Constitution has enshrined that INEC must be independent, and such independence must be respected and strengthened. INEC needs to be strengthened because that institution is key to development of democracy in Nigeria.
Absolutely, and it needs to act as an independent body at all times. Let me ask you, Mr. NZEAKO, because you're a constitutional lawyer yourself, how will the Electoral Reform Act, if passed, provide less gaps for cases of electoral fraud like this? And what are the lessons to be learnt from this?
Well, the gaps will be provided to ensure, because one of the best things to do in constitutionalism is to ensure that people are not given any leeway to undermine the system. And how do you do that? To ensure that the system is made strong over and above the people who want to scuttle the system. And how do you do that? Ensure that the people who are appointed into INEC are people who cannot be compromised. This Constitution has made copious provision for that. Even the review of the Constitution in 2011 has also provided that those who are to become members of the Commission, appointed by Mr. President under the advice of the Council of State, mark that word, third schedule of the Constitution, paragraph 14 said, the Council of State has to advise Mr. President in appointment. And why did the Constitution make such provision? The Constitution made such provision because we found out that in Nigeria, people seem to see their errors when they have left office. That is why every president in Nigeria will come out and begin to pontificate on good governance. And people will now ask him, why did you not do these things when you were in power? Because they are surrounded mostly by hangers-on and people who do not have the capacity to give cogent and proper advice to leadership when they are in power. They seem to make mistakes. Now the Constitution has provided that the Council of State, which is made up of past presidents, past heads of states, past chief justice of the country, current chief justice of the country, Attorney General, and the rest of them, even including governors of the state, both ruling party and the opposition party, if they all meet together and they decide on who becomes member of Independent National Electoral Commission, I can tell you that the best in the system can be thrown up. And that's exactly what happened when Professor Tahiru Jega was appointed INEC chairman.
All right, Fred.
And Nigerians applauded it and clapped for him and encouraged Mr. President and the executive, and the international community and the development partners joined to support INEC. And we gained some mileage. Unfortunately, we are fast losing that mileage, and that loss must be controlled.
Fred, let's talk some politics now. Let's talk about the claims. I'm sure you're aware of these claims and counter-claims, as it were, between the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, and then the governor of Rivers State, NEWSDAY, with Umahi calling Wike a dictator. That's what he called him. This is about 2023 elections. Do you seem to detect that this is more about their ambitions rather than about the people that are elected to serve?
Before I go there, Andy, let me very quickly say that if the electoral umpire is strengthened, that is INEC, and peopled by men and women of character and strength and integrity, especially and also including those who have gained some robust experience in the system and who can plug loopholes and ensure that untoward actions are blocked and frustrated. Once that is done, I can tell you that half of the problem, or more than half of the problems, have been solved. It now will not matter whatever tantrums anybody is saying or giving the other person by way of what we are seeing between Nyesom Wike and Dave Umahi. I can very easily tell you that all these have to do with 2023. the back and forth was experienced in the southwest. The back and forth was also experienced in the northwest. Now it is the turn of between the southeast and south-south. What is the meaning of all this? Politicians are realigning and aligning themselves towards clinching power come 2023. But I can tell you that just as many commentators have said, that it is the prerogative and right of Mr. Umahi to join any political grouping of his choice, but it does not lie in his vocal cavity to speak evil or disparage a political party that everybody knows that have made him who and what he is. And I think in that wise, I align very completely with the opinions of those who said that Umahi did not need to disparage his party before joining another party, because that is the normal pull him down syndrome that we see in Nigeria. Having gained and benefited robustly from a political party, on your way out, you want to cast aspersions on that party. Meanwhile, in 2016, the same day Umahi granted an interview
Mr. Fred
and said that he would never
Thank you
leave
so
PDP.
much for your thoughts.